Okay, we are going to be doing the quote and the blog for March 14th, 2022. My quote for today: Life looks different from the inside out. Life will trick you into believing what you want without a doubt. But when one learns to live a life that tries, it will end up better than a life that makes up lies. And my blog for today. Some may have noticed that I look different. There are those lovely people that say I look great, and others that project that I'm some sort of terrible person because of this horrific moment in history. Somehow I'm managing to look good, and so I must be some sort of energy vampire. The truth is never what one projects on others, and so often we have to fabricate something in the mind to allow for our own feelings of discord to surface. The experience I have, and all my friends that are sensitives or intuitive also have in this world, is one of tremendous stress. I talk to clients all day that are feeling this horror. Every healer that has a kind heart will attempt to help by bringing light, knowledge, and years of experience into this historic moment to help make sense out of it. Many years ago, I was speaking to another astrologer friend of mine, and the stress was getting to me, and I asked her, as she was older than me by 10 years and much wiser, if she had ever felt this type of energy building up in the world. Her answer was that she was older than I, and this moment was not like anything she had ever lived through either. She said that not only was it going to get worse, she was a great astrologer, but that we would live through an unprecedented time in history based on the astrology. I can say that I am using every tool and technique I have at my disposal to keep centered and grounded. One of my teachers said in my 20s that he had to meditate or do yoga and forms of body work for 4 hours a day to cope with his level of sensitivity. At the time I thought that was insane, but now at 61 years old, I'm doing exactly what he was doing just to keep healthy and centered. In 2010, the angels told me to back off and step back. They told me to move to a remote place and to move into nature. They told me that if I did not do that, I was not going to make it. Fortunately, I listened to them and did as I was told. I have learned to not ignore the angels and guides when they speak so directly and clearly. I took my business from 100% in 2010 to 20%. I slowed way down. I really started back with my spiritual meditation practices. I stopped my patterns where I believed that my only value was in what I could give to others. I stepped back from needing to be seen in the world. I let go of needing to be special. I recognized that something was coming and happening in the world and that I could not stop it or change it. Classically, psychics and sensitives are overweight because they are literally putting layers of fat in front of their chakras in order to protect themselves. I was no different. I put on weight. I was diagnosed with life-threatening heart issues that were inherited in my family 8 years ago. Not only do I have these inherited traits, but my sister has them, and those traits have passed down to some of her children. That really made me realize that the angels were right to slow me down and to get me to step back. I could see that taking the responsibility on from others was something that I could no longer afford to do. I learned that I cannot heal anyone, that everyone has to be fully responsible for their own self. The last 6 years have been some of the hardest I have experienced. I broke my shoulder. I broke my ankle so badly that I was not allowed to walk on it for 24 weeks. I broke my wrist. The list goes on and on. Of course, these things showed up in my chart, and while I saw them and tried to do the best to take care of myself, such things are still very challenging while trying to continue to give back to the world in small ways. One of the reasons that I do all these videos is that I try to help and give back in a way that supports others, even if those people cannot afford to have a session with me. I'm not trying to build my business. I am simply wanting to share in a way that serves before I am no longer here. In September of 2021, I could see the global astrology was going to reach a major shift. I was feeling horrible physically, mentally, and emotionally, so I decided to do the Noom diet on the phone app, and I've lost 35 pounds, and I'm very happy with the effort that such a thing took. It has allowed me to feel better, get some energy back, lower my blood pressure. My cardiologist is happy, as it will make things easier on my heart. But in losing the weight, I also noticed how even more terrifying the world was. And I realized that 12 years ago, I had a broken heart. Probably from the time I was 35, I actually had a broken heart. I knew when I was 35 that I needed to stop being a ballet dancer or it was going to kill me. And every day, I am meditating for hours for the world to give love back to a hateful world. I share all of this because none of us ever really know when we are going to die. For each of us, the clock is ticking. Tomorrow, none of us may be here. That is a frightening thought. But before I go, I just wanted to give in the ways that I know how to give, without attachment to anyone or anything. This is such a shocking time in history, and while I know my poetry for some seems pretty dark, I keep trying to bring tools that bring self-awareness and responsibility back to where it belongs with each of us. No one can carry another person back to their place of home. Each of us must walk our own path, alone. Along the way, we may meet others also striving for ways to make things better. But in the end, we entered into this world alone, and we will have to leave it also alone. Hopefully, we will leave something of value behind in the hearts and minds of others. For those kind souls who noticed my weight loss and said lovely and supportive things, thank you. For those that project their own mental meaning onto my journey, I hope you find peace and love that you deserve in the world. As I walk the path ahead, I can see that doorway that takes us all back to source and to the love that will continue to allow us to exist in nonlinear time. May we all meet where the darkness ends. May we all remember that love transcends. May tomorrow allow that love to flow. May all you are become greater than what you think you know. Thanks, everyone.